really fast, in 6 seconds, what do you need to get pre-approved?
In 6 seconds. To get pre-approved, you basically need to have 2 years worth of job history. We need to have at least 30 days worth of proof of income. Yeah, so you have to have established credit or a credit score. You don't need a lot of credit, right? But we do need 30 days worth of pay stubs, 2 years worth of W-2s. For self-employed borrowers, it's a little bit different. We need to get tax returns for the past 2 years so that we can calculate what the income is, along with some business bank statements and profit and loss statements. So it's a little more complicated if you're self-employed.
But we're going to break that down a little bit more, so stay tuned. Hi, I'm Kasie Gray, a realtor, broker associate, mom, and I have a special guest with me today.
Hi, I'm Memo Zazueta with NEXA Mortgage. I'm a mortgage advisor, and I help people qualify for home loans, buy homes, and also create a plan to get approved. If you can't get approved now, we always make a plan so that you can get approved later.
Question that I have faced in the past 8 years of selling real estate is, what do I need to do to get pre-approved? Why do I need to get pre-approved? And it is going to be more important now than ever with rates changing and the market changing and all the things that happen. And so I wanted to have Memo on here to talk to you guys about how not scary it is to get pre-approved and why it's important, whether your goal is to buy a house in 6 months or 5 years from now, to get pre-approved, have the conversation, and see where you're at now and where you would like to be and what you need to do to get there.
So the how is basically making sure that you reach out to a mortgage advisor like myself, and we have conversations about what your income looks like, what the credit looks like, and then once we verify all those documents, we can put it together and see what amounts you qualify for. If you don't qualify, then we create a plan for the future. But the importance of doing it is because when you have an amount that you're pre-approved for, you can freely shop and you can make offers. In the way that the market is changing, with rates being a little bit better than they were at the end of last year, they're slowly going down. So when the media says, oh, rates are dropping or gonna drop, we have to understand that it's a slow, gradual movement. It's not gonna be an enormous amount right away. And when rates do go down a lot, more buyers come out to the market. And when there's more buyers without more homes, that creates kind of a frenzy where the buyers are overbidding each other, trying to win the house, where the people that own homes in those neighborhoods that are getting into bidding wars, they're enjoying an increase in value. So if you can buy now with what the rates are, you should, so that you can enjoy that increase in value, and that'll help you with your refinance later on down the road when the rates drop enough for you to have a benefit to the refinance.
So on average, when we're looking at income for, say, a $400,000 house, I know you can't give an exact number, but like a range for
Sure.
household income?
A lot of it does depend on the interest rate that you do get, because it's not a one size fits all. So the higher your credit score is, the better interest rate you're going to get, and then your down payment matters also. So typically on a $400,000 house, if you don't have an extreme amount of debts and you've got a decent down payment, a household income of say 75, 80,000 would be adequate to buy that home.
And as far as credit score goes, there are things that you can do to help buyers work on their credit score. But if someone comes to you, where would you ideally like to see their credit range be?
It also depends on the type of loan you're getting. So if it's an FHA loan, they typically are okay with the mid 6 score, so 630, 650, somewhere that's okay for an FHA loan, and you'll still get a decent payment, right? When it comes to conventional loans, it's a little more strict on the credit side, and it's a little bit more expensive if your scores aren't above, say, 720. So there are programs for everybody, whether you have a 580 score or a 780 score. There's something that will fit depending on some other factors, but the credit score is not the only thing that matters,
Yeah.
right? So, obviously the higher the credit score, the better. But if you don't have a good credit score, or you think you don't have a good credit score, we can sit down and talk about them. I can do it without having to run your credit. If you're monitoring it on your Credit Karma or Credit Sesame app, I can look at that on your phone and kind of help you and to improve that score and lower the debts and give you some good tips. Another one is people without a score, right? A lot of times people are told, oh, go buy a car to get your credit up, which is a completely wrong thing to do, because that increases your debt. I have ways to get you a credit score without any debt. And that's the best, because we don't need a lot of debt to say, oh, I can buy a house, because that hinders your purchasing power, right? But I have ways to be able to get people a score in a short amount of time without any debt at all.
That's awesome. And I'm not sure if you guys heard that, but a minimum of 580, if your score is 580, there's a program that will work for you.
Yeah.
And could you do like a brief, quick explanation of soft pull versus hard pull, and in which scenarios you do it, and if someone is nervous about having their credit pulled, how you can help them?
The difference between hard pull and soft pull, on a soft pull, it doesn't count as an inquiry. So, for example, I mentioned Credit Karma and Credit Sesame before. Those companies are doing a soft pull. So it doesn't affect your score as an inquiry. However, a soft pull doesn't help me get you pre-approved. So we have to do a hard pull, right? And the effects on your credit score are minimal. It's not a big deal unless you're doing it a lot, right?
Yeah.
But there's also some benefits or some things that you can do. For example, there's a thing called optoutprescreen.com. And when you do get your credit pulled, then you're going to get a bunch of phone calls from solicitors, regardless of what you do, whether you're applying for a credit card at Kohl's or a house with me. The credit companies are going to sell your information to solicitors. So if you go out onto optoutprescreen.com before you get your credit pulled, you can eliminate all that noise and just focus on life. Yeah. And every time that I help people or get that process started, I send them an email saying, getting mortgage ready, right? And so that's the very first step, is to log into optoutprescreen.com, fill out the stuff so that you are not solicited as soon as you pull your credit.
So working with a local lender is very important in our market because we have plenty of challenges that arise with homes around here. Everything's not so cookie cutter. So I always recommend a local lender who, if needed, I can walk down the street from my office and end up in your office and scream and yell at you if I need to. But that never has happened. So can you give us a little breakdown of the difference between meeting with you, a local lender, versus like if you bank at Chase, going and asking Chase for a mortgage loan? Sure.
So those big banks like Chase or B of A or Wells Fargo, they're considered retail lenders. And what retail lenders also have is a lot of overhead. They've got buildings in every other city. They've got tellers that are taking in your deposits. They do credit cards, auto loans, all of these things. So with all of this comes a lot more overhead, where the banks that I use are wholesale mortgage lenders who might have one or two offices in the country, okay? And they have one product. Instead of having all those products, they have one product, and that's a mortgage. Might be different variations of a mortgage, but that's all they do.
Yeah.
And with the brokerage that I'm with, NEXA Mortgage, we have over 240 different lenders that I have access to, anywhere from a commercial building to a single family home or multi-family residence. We can do them all, and with so many lenders, it's really hard to figure out what program we can't do.
Yeah. That's awesome, and you're very helpful and educational, and so that's a great help to buyers too, versus having to call a 1-800 number and end up with some guy named Brent in Michigan, and he doesn't even care if your client closes the deal or not.
Yeah. When you're with those bigger places, I feel like the end result, which is what you want, is to be able to get the keys to your house. There's nobody it's going to be more important to than me. I see you in the grocery store. I see you in the park. I see you all over town. So it's very important to me that we get to that end result and in that common goal, and that's you with the keys to a house.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for answering some quick questions. This was very short notice. I just popped into Memo's office and said, you're going to shoot a video with me. So if you have any questions about getting pre-approved, you can reach out to Memo, and he is here to help.
Absolutely.
And
I just want to say, I mean, you touched on the education part, and you know, one of my goals is to make sure that my clients are the most educated buyers out there in the market. So I field a lot of questions after our meetings, text messages with questions, emails saying, hey, what about this or that? And so it's very important that you have access to whoever your mortgage advisor is going to be, because without that access, you can be out there blind and maybe make a mistake or not understand what you're negotiating or how to negotiate particular items, right?
Yeah.
And you know, Kasie and I work really well together to make sure that we're not only educating our buyers, but helping them get the best terms for their purchase.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can follow Memo over on Facebook and Instagram, and I'll link all of his information down below. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yeah.